Welcome to today's Research Business Daily Report, where we're going to explore what could be one of the most important technology innovations in the engagement area, something that can really elevate researchers' ability to measure and track engagement. RBDR is sponsored today and all this week by Survey Sampling, the premier global provider of data solutions for mobile, for consumer, and for business-to-business survey research. Check out www.surveysampling.com to find out the many different ways that this company can enhance your research capabilities. Many of you know the roots of RFL Communications. We go back to 1995 when we began exploring research innovations, both technological and methodological, and how they would impact the researchers' prowess to do their work better, to be more efficient, and to do their work at a lower cost. We're continually on the lookout for new innovations, and we're proud to have been the first in this industry to show that technological and methodological innovation are more impactful than absolutely anything else in driving the future fortunes of research and research agencies. And today we're pleased to bring SACCADIC to your attention. It is a research-changing upgrade by Pretesting Group in the field of engagement. And Dan Morris, its president, told us about this exciting new development, which Scientific American has called the best lie detector test out there. SACCADIC has an impressive array of users, big names that you will immediately recognize and be impressed by. And it is one of the things that we spoke about with Dan recently. Dan, engagement is a major issue and a concern and a fascination in research circles, and particularly with clients, because if you've got a commercial, an ad, whether it's a print or whether it's video or anything else, understanding whether your target audience is actually engaging with it is very critical. And I understand that you have developed a technology that really takes engagement to new levels of precision. So let's talk about that. What do you call it?
SACCADIC iMotion.
And spell SACCADIC for me.
SACCADIC.
And what exactly is it?
SACCADIC iMotion refers to the macrosaccades of the eye. In simple terms, it refers to the tiny movements or vibrations that we all, as human beings, do every single waking moment of the day. Most people.
Yeah, okay. What happens with your eye, during the day when you see something that you become engaged with?
The more interested you are in something, the more engaged you are in something, the faster your eye vibrates. And we're talking about up to 500 or 600 vibrations per second. But you can't see unless your eye vibrates. The question is, how interested are you in what you're looking at? The answer is, the more interested you are, the faster your eye vibrates.
Okay. And how long have you had this capability?
We've been developing it for a number of years. We got the patent to measure SACCADIC globally and passively about 5 years ago. And we've been, partnering with the world's most enviable brands to deliver this capability to the marketplace for the past 4 years.
And who are some of those guys?
They range from companies, I like to say, as small as Boston Beer, the makers of Sam Adams, who have a phenomenal story, and what they've done in the craft beer industry, and we're proud to have partnered with them, all the way to Procter & Gamble out of Cincinnati.
Okay. And your SACCADIC system, is it something that those companies license from you and basically handle themselves?
There are several ways that clients use the technology. More typical than not, it's part of a larger series of testing that we're doing with the client in partnership. So everything from testing television campaigns to print ads to digital campaigns, e-commerce relationships, all the way through to merchandising and POP in store.
And how do you differentiate this capability for, let's say, a print ad as opposed to television or or any other kind of media where you're trying to measure engagement?
It's a great question. So for television, all of our technology is hidden essentially in what looks like a cable box. The consumers have a remote control, a TV guide. They can change channels as much as they want. What they don't know is that we are controlling all of the programming and all of the television commercials in the pods. And our technology, using infrared tools, is illuminating their eyes, tracking everything they see, and more importantly, looking through their eyes to capture their level of interest, to capture their engagement.
How close do they have to be to the device to be measured like that?
Listen, when we test SACCADIC in store, when we test packaging using the SACCADIC tool, consumers are shopping at their regular distances. So you can be sitting feet away from the television screen. The technology is that precise that it can capture it.
And it can measure more than one person at a time?
Oh, absolutely.
Huh. Okay. How did you guys come across this kind of capability and understand about the vibration of the eye being so key?
Listen, the world is changing rapidly. We are now in an incredibly competitive, cluttered, multitask environment, and a media marketplace that's exceptionally fragmented. We've always been a firm that's pioneered technology. In fact, my partner, the founder of PTG, invented the first consumer eye movement recorder back in the 70s. And what we've been doing from a technology perspective, from an emerging technology perspective, is constantly innovating, seeing what can we do better. And much of it has been at the push of our clients. Our clients have come to us numerous times. Hey, we know you guys have fantastic technology and we love your analysis output. What can we do to better measure the consumer in their real world situation? Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, there is a dramatic difference between what happens when you test consumers and they know that they're being tested, to when you can test consumers passively in their natural habitat.
So passivity is a big part of this, which I guess is more and more understandable given all the other routes that the market research industry is taking these days to try to understand and to track what respondents actually think or feel about things.
Without question. If you want to be able to predict what's going to happen in the real world when your ads hit the airwaves, when your products hit the shelving, when your signage in store goes up, you've got to test consumers in the real world. It's the only way to do it.
What about understanding when you see engagement that is exciting somebody, engagement that is shocking somebody, engagement that is turning somebody off?
So that's the beauty of SACCADIC. SACCADIC is factual, right? As Scientific American pegged it, the best lie detector test there is. Either they're engaged or they're not engaged. Now, what we do is we marry the SACCADIC results to all of the other metrics that we're capturing, whether it's purchase behavior, whether it's branding behavior in terms of our consumers remembering having seen an ad, so that we can understand whether the communication is not only working, but why it's working or why it's not working. So we use SACCADIC not in the abstract. We use it as part of a larger construct of metrics to understand consumer behavior.
And explain that you just said. What is this other construct of metrics?
So, for example, when we're testing television, right, we'll want to see, are consumers motivated? Does the ad persuade them on a pre-post basis to shift their consideration? Are the ads memorable? Do consumers remember having seen an ad? Is the equity of the brand? Where does the imagery rate before and after they saw the ad? And then we'll look at all of those scores, and we'll also look at the consumer's behavior, their SACCADIC behavior, to understand, okay, if we have an issue with recall, people aren't remembering having seen that ad, or they're not motivated to buy the product after having seen that ad, the ad is not motivating, maybe there's a reason for that. We look at the SACCADIC for the reasons to explain their behavior. The SACCADIC becomes our why.
Huh. Okay. A couple of last questions. How many people do you need in a sample for a SACCADIC study in order for it to be valid?
Our typical base size is 50. Anything more than 30 to 35 is readable. Our overall sample size for each study that we do is 200.
Okay.
So we go well beyond the sample requirements.
Okay, but let's say, and I'm just thinking out loud here, let's say you put it in a store. Neighborhoods where stores exist differ all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And so don't you have to test them in all kinds of different locations with all kinds of different demographics in order to really understand fully, what the engagement is?
SACCADIC is a physiological response, right? So it's capturing consumer behavior in a qualitative way. We do look at large numbers when we're looking at this quantitatively, but there also will be times that we look at it qualitatively. And we do. Our SACCADIC is built out so portably that it literally is almost the size of a half of a fingernail's length and sits within the shelf setting and completely wireless. So we will deploy it to numerous stores at a time to capture the behavior.
Okay, but I'm still not quite sure I understand. Are you telling me that the engagement, generally speaking, is going to be the same regardless of ethnicity, regardless of age group, regardless of gender?
Absolutely not. In fact, more likely than not, Bob, and I think you're hitting the nail on the head, more likely than not, it will differ. So more often than not, we'll see dramatic differences between one segment of the population and another segment of the population, and we test for that. So if we're in store, we need to make sure that we're getting large enough samples that we can have readable base sizes for each segment of the population.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how long does the study take?
Anything from as short as a few days to as long as 3 weeks, depending on the nature of the study.
Okay.
But it can be turned around within a matter of a number of days.
If you'd like to know more about this engagement capability, I discovered a blog written by Pretesting founder Lee Weinblatt. We're linking to it for your information enhancement. That's your Research Business Daily Report. We're sponsored by Survey Sampling, the premier global provider of data solutions for mobile, consumer, and business-to-business survey research. We invite you and suggest that you check out www.surveysampling.com to find out the many different ways that this company can help your research efforts. Have a great research day and the rest of your week, and please enjoy the upcoming weekend. We are planning a week of best of RBDR coverage for next week, but that may change in one way or another. We'll look forward to seeing you back here on Monday.